On Overdrive this week, we head out for a monsoon drive in the Audi Q7 and Q5. All this week's motoring news. Auto Selector with Bert. And Volkswagen India's Arvind Saxena on the company's plans for the market. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Bhan. We're in the second week of September, but the rains have only just arrived and are inundating the western coast of India. So we're going with the monsoon theme on the show this week. Now, for all of us SUV buyers, we only get a chance to drive these vehicles outside our pothole city roads and highways very, very rarely, and so we don't really get to experience their true power. So we decided to send Sandeep down to the western coast of Maharashtra to explore not just the scenery but also what these vehicles are capable of. He decided to take along with him not one but two SUVs from the Audi stable. Take a look.
One of the perks of working for India's most mobile auto brand is that we tend to travel a lot, extensively across the country and sometimes even to exotic destinations around the world. But today things are a little bit different, because today what I'm going to do is take a long monsoon drive along the coast of Maharashtra and discover some beautiful scenery and some fabulous beaches.
The monsoons are the perfect time for urbanites to seek relief from their crowded cities and head out for short weekend trips. This could be to a hill station nestled in the clouds with handy waterfalls, or if you're a bit more adventurous like I was, a drive along the coast to a beach. Drive out of Mumbai, turn south, and rather than use the highways, head towards the ocean and then onwards along the coastal road in search of sand and surf. And when heading out for such an adventure, it's important to have the right wheels.
So why did I pick SUVs, you ask? Well, the answer is pretty simple. I'm heading out for a drive in the middle of the monsoons. The roads are going to be wet and slippery if there are any roads at all, and it's very likely that I will need to head off-road to get to some of my destinations. Given that and the fact that I want to arrive at my destination in comfort, relaxed and happy, an SUV is an obvious choice. And just to make completely sure that I had everything I need, I've brought two SUVs, the Q7 and the Q5.
Having set off from the Overdrive office in Mumbai at 5:30 in the morning, we beat the traffic out of the city, hit a short stretch of highway until Alibag, and then turned off towards the coastal road. I then found myself near the village of Korle, home to a small fishing community, an old fort, a lighthouse, and a slushy off-road trail with some spectacular views.
The Audi Q7 is one of the most popular luxury SUVs with Indian buyers, and it certainly helps that almost every single Bollywood star seems to own one, but the Q7 has a lot more going for it than just glam value.
The Q7 is easily one of the most visually striking luxury SUVs in India, and with its massive length and width, the sight of one charging up behind you on the road is often enough to make drivers take evasive action. If you're sitting inside the Q7 though, you have no such worries. The length and equally massive price tag resulting in an uber luxurious and extremely spacious cabin.
When you have great space, luxury and road presence, you want good power to go with it, and that's just what this Q7 has. It has a 4.2-litre V8 diesel engine that puts out 760 Newton meters of torque. That's more power than I think I'm ever going to need.
On the narrow coastal roads, I was using perhaps just 20% of the Q7's power. The broken nature of the tarmac, combined with the blind curves and the two-lane width, spelled caution rather than action. But the advantage of driving an SUV was the ability to put two wheels on dirt at will to avoid tight spaces.
We've driven about an hour now from Korle, and it's time for our first tea and snack stop, and we've picked a nice popular tourist destination for that. This is Kashet Beach. It's one of the most popular coastal destinations for Mumbaikars and Puneites. Not too much here other than a beach, a little bit of infrastructure, a few snack stalls and a couple of small resorts, but really, what else do you need?
Even at 10 in the morning, Kashet was full of activity. Families chilling on the beach under overcast skies, heading out for rides on horse-drawn carriages and Polaris ATVs, and sipping lots of coconut water. Refreshed after my break, I hit the road again and headed further down the coast, this time behind the wheel of the Q5.
In a sense, the Q5 is the perfectly sized SUV for India, and I'm saying that for two reasons. The first, obviously, is its size. It's not as big as the Q7, and as a result, what happens is you can actually drive this in comfort without too much tension on our narrow roads, and especially in our extremely crowded city conditions. But yet, it is big enough for serious work. It has some imposing presence, and in this particular spec with the 3-litre turbo diesel engine, it has a lot of performance to boot.
Stepping down from the Q7 immediately makes the Q5 feel smaller than it is. But with its engine producing 240 PS of power and 500 Newton meters of torque, I just had to put my foot down hard and let the SUV go to work on the best roads we'd encountered yet on the drive. The stretch from Kashid to another popular tourist destination, Murud Janjira.
Now this Q5 doesn't have adjustable air suspension, and I've realized that actually you can save that money because you don't really need it. The ride quality I've experienced through this mix of broken roads and extremely good tarmac is actually very, very sorted. At no point do you feel uncomfortable. It is a bit firmish, so that gives you that sense of confidence and stability if you want to hustle the car around corners. And you'll find that one does tend to hustle the Q5 around a lot because it's extremely fun to drive. It's got this nice firm steering. It's not as light as the Q7, and it's really a lot of fun to push hard.
Having made good time, we continued on past Murud Janjira towards Srivardhan, a further 60-odd kilometers down the road, which makes it a comfortable 2-hour journey given the weather and road conditions. Even when the rain came down hard, the SUVs just broke on through. Thanks to the high driving positions and excellent wipers, visibility was hardly hindered, and even when the roads narrowed again, we could keep up a steady pace, even though I had moved back into the comfortable cave that is the Q7's cabin.
Now, even though I've brought both the Q5 and the Q7 on this drive, I've ended up spending more time in the Q7, despite the fact that with its humongous size, it can be a bit of a handful on these narrow, twisty roads. And the reason for that is comfort. This particular Q7 also has adaptive air suspension. So when you want to dash around corners, you can put it in dynamic mode, lower the ride height, make the car a bit more nimble. But really, most of the time, you just want to set that air suspension in comfort mode. Sit back, relax, turn up the music, and enjoy the beautiful road.
The final stretch of our drive from Srivardhan to the night halt at Divagar was just a 30-kilometer run. But with the rain and ominous dark clouds reducing visibility and making the roads very slippery, we still made good time and hit the beach for sunset and a good cup of chai. Not to mention the obligatory pictures of a very fast SUV streaking across the beach and kicking up spray.
And so after some 8 hours of extremely relaxed driving, taking in some stunning views, we've covered the 200-odd kilometers from Mumbai to our final destination, which is Divagar Beach. And now it's time for a nice hot cup of chai. There's a couple of reasons why I picked Divagar Beach. One, it's obviously one of those hidden gems that you don't hear too much about in Maharashtra, and it's easy to see why. Absolutely stunning stretch of beach. Okay, the sand is a little bit black, and crucially, very few people know about this spot, at least until today. And what's more, there are a couple of nice places to stay with, and I have 2 Audis to drive back home in and take in some more stunning views.
On that note, a quick break. When we return, Bert answers your queries on Auto Selector.